Hi. I just have to wait for the live stream to start. Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Just in case I don't see you. We are live again because it's 5 p.m. So it's happy hour. So hopefully you have your drinks. I'm Nathan. I am from the Dot Mill. Hi. And yes, for the next hour, we will be answering tech questions. So I've got a big long list of stuff that has been asked or that I've seen being asked, or all sorts of things. They come from everywhere. Today I have passion fruit drink, just for something a little bit different. So yeah, if you are watching, if you have something that you're drinking, let us know what you're drinking. Obviously, as said in the disclaimer, ours is non-alcoholic because, well, working. So, But that being said, personally, I don't drink alcohol anyway. So, yeah, that's a thing. Anyway, so Monday, let's just address this. So Monday here in sunny Queensland is a public holiday. Regardless of this, because it's not a public holiday all across Australia, I will be here for this anyway. So we're still doing this Monday from 5 p.m. Look, we have a comment. Neil, again. Hey, Neil. And Chloe. Hi. That's cool. All right, so let's get started. Like I said, we'll be here Monday as well for this. So if you have the day off, if you want to join. Oh, look, we have a Jacob as well. Here's a Jacob. Well, look, let's make him bigger. Hello.
I'm not late.
No, you're never late. You arrive precisely when you mean to, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't do too bad. I had to get my flu shots. So.
Oh. So if you disappear next week because you didn't install the app, it wasn't the government that got you, it was the flu shot that took you down.
Yeah, if I die next week, it's because of the flu shot.
Okay, cool. Has anyone actually died from the flu shot yet?
I could Google it.
I don't know if I want to know.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't hurt. So if you're scared, don't worry.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, you're looking at that. If you don't want to appear live to ask your question, which it seems most people don't. So, yeah, if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. You can send your question in any way that you can get a hold of us. So social media, email, text message, phone number, snail mail, carrier pigeon, drone, whatever. However you need to get the message to us or question to us, feel free to do that. And if we get it, because, carrier pigeon's probably not so reliable. Yeah, if we get it, then we'll answer it.
Yeah.
And then if we don't get it, if you're using technology, then find another way to get it to us so we can help you fix that to get it to us next time.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. I'm a little bit silly today. It's Friday. I'm allowed.
Yeah.
And yes, all our contact details are on our website. So I'm pretty sure all our social media accounts are on there, phone number, yeah, stuff like that.
Everything.
Yeah, everything. Because, the government's got the details anyway, so why can't everyone else have them too?
Yeah.
Anyway, cool. So, in other news, the computer is finished. I finished it this morning at what was it, 1 a.m., I think?
I think it was around then that you put in the group chat.
Yeah, I think so. And then I just left it to do Windows updates overnight. So what I figured I'd do is I will answer some questions around that, which people have asked me repeatedly a lot over the years. So let's start with the first one. So basically, let's start with why you would be looking at a new computer in the first place. So the first question, which I get asked a lot, is why is my computer running slow? And that's really a very, very open-ended question.
Yeah, very broad question.
Yeah. So, look, I can't tell you exactly why your computer's running slow, but I can show you what to look for to try and figure out why it's running slow. So the first thing, we talked the other day about a hard drive versus an SSD. Typically these days in computers, your biggest bottleneck is your disk access speed if you don't have an SSD. even when you do have an SSD, there's different grades of SSD, different types of SSD. Some are better than others, and changing them to like the fastest possible makes a massive amount of difference.
If you're going from a hard drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
but
if we're
going
talking
from like high end to high end,
yeah,
it's
not so
very
much.
noticeable.
But if you're talking like a low end SSD to a high end SSD, so say a SATA SSD with no DRAM cache to an NVMe SSD with a DRAM cache, we're nerding out a little bit here, but yeah, there's going to be a massive amount of difference between the two. Mind you, if we're talking about gaming performance, that will probably have little to no effect besides load times. Once it's loaded, then you'd be looking at video cards, CPU, that kind of thing. If you're doing very intensive workloads, then we may be looking at RAM and processor and all that stuff, but we'll run through basically how to see that and what's being used. So how do I do this? How am I going to do this? Let's clear a screen. I have way too many things open as usual. All right, so let's share.
I ran straight from the doctors. Breaking the law's fun though.
I'm not even going to ask. So look, this is. I'll take the question away. Actually, if I bring that up. Nope. Okay, so this is my desktop on my second screen. So I've dragged all my other stuff away to keep it nice and clean for us. So basically, the quickest way is use your task manager. So all you have to do for that is right click on your taskbar and go task manager. And then you can see everything that's running. But see, on top of this, like, okay, usually it'll look something like this for most people if you've never been in here before. And you'll just see the list of applications that are open on top of everything else. So the active, visible ones. If you go into more details, then you can actually see everything that's running. And as you can see, I have probably way too much running on my computer because, like I said, I'm doing too much. Although all this stuff down here is all your system stuff, so you probably don't need to pay attention to that. Actually, you know what? I don't actually have all that much running. It's all stuff that I'm using, so it doesn't really matter. Because my computer's actually fairly clean for the amount of stuff that I throw at it.
I'm the complete opposite. I'm sitting here looking at mine. I'm like, I think you might need to have a look at this one day and help me get rid of all of it.
We can do that live if you want.
Yeah.
Anyway, but ignoring that, the main thing that we want to look at is your performance tab. So your performance tab will tell you, like, if you monitor this while your computer is feeling slow, this will usually give you an indication of what is making it run slower. So for example, I'm going to create an artificial workload over here. And by artificial, I just want something that will come up and show exactly what what's going to happen. So for example, this won't be very common, but if you are, here we go. That's not happy.
Just run
if your computer's running really slow, I'm actually going to render a video.
Oh, same.
Here we go. Okay, so if I do this and then tell that to do that, whoa. Oh, I'm trying to render to a drive that doesn't exist. Go me.
That probably won't help.
That'll do. Okay, see? Look, now, I don't know how this is going to affect the live stream, actually, because that's obviously got some processing power. But if you look at the graph, my CPU usage has spiked to 100%. Although my computer's not actually feeling that much slower. But if you look at these graphs and find that something in here, either your CPU, your memory, or your disk, usually, these three, is spiking, then you've got a problem. And whatever is spiking to full, if your computer is feeling slow, is probably what's making it feel slow. That's pretty much the easiest way to figure it out. Although memory will probably not spike to full, but memory is a little bit different, actually. So let's stop that testing code because we don't actually need that. And just make sure that I haven't left some temporary random file somewhere. Oh, I did. Okay, good. That's gone. All right, so your memory, if it's getting to full, then that's a problem. But you actually need to look and see your memory will automatically lower itself. And let me step back a step. When your memory is getting full, you have what's called a page file or a swap file, or in the case of other operating systems, partition. But anyway, you have space, which is space on your hard drive that then gets used when you run out of memory. Windows 10 is actually very good at handling this and will automatically start offloading stuff to that without you noticing. But hard drive access speed is a heck of a lot slower than your memory speed. So even at SSD speeds, it's probably getting a lot closer, but it's still not quite the same. And you've got other stuff being read and written at the same time. But basically, you need to look at your paged data as well as how much RAM is actually in use, if that makes sense. So down the bottom here, you've got committed, and you've got paged pool. So look at those two. In my case, I have 32 gig of RAM and only about half of that is in use at the moment. Although that's quite a lot. But anyway. Just thinking, I probably won't cover that today, but where your page file is makes a difference as well. I think we'll talk about that another day because that's a fairly advanced thing. But either way.
The non-page pool mean?
Non-page, I think it's not being used.
Because I'm looking at mine whilst you're talking about yours.
Yeah.
My paged pool is 1.2 gig.
Yeah.
But my non-page pool is 608 compared to your 1.1 and 386.
Let me look that up. Let me just double check it is what I'm thinking.
Oh, wow. I just realized how slow your RAM is.
2400.
Why does it only say 1200?
Double data rate. That's what DDR RAM is. Double data rate. So you've got to double that to get the actual effective speed. What does yours say?
3200.
Okay. That's odd then.
That's why
I've seen that happen a number of times. Like it reports half the speed on some computers and double the speed on others. I have no idea why. Okay, here we go. Committed, cached, and paged memory. Page pool is the amount of kernel and device driver memory that can spill over from physical memory into the slow page file. Non-page pool is the amount of kernel and device memory that must stay in physical memory. Oh, okay. This type of memory cannot be offloaded to the disk. There you go. So your page, the amount you want to be looking at is your paged pool, because that's
and then the non-page pool stuff that can't.
Yeah, that can't be moved.
Okay.
Anyway, if you want to go more advanced with this stuff, then and talking about gaming and stuff, let's see if we can get this to come up. Then usually you want to use something like MSI Afterburner generally does that for us. So this type of thing will monitor things like your GPU usage as well, and you can monitor temperatures and other things, and it will actually give you a nice graph as well. But this actually makes it very easy because then you can see your RAM usage versus your page file usage, although it says my page file usage is 17 gig. I don't think that's... Maybe it is. I don't know.
Unless that's what the committed means.
Could be. And then in use is 10.2.
Because that was another one I'm kind of confused about. Because I've only got, obviously, 16 gig of RAM on my computer. But for some reason, my committed says it's 23.9 gig.
Might have to look a little bit more into that one.
I feel like we're going to have to screen share my computer one day on one of these streams and just have a poke around.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's enough of that. So if you find out that... I can turn off the screen sharing too. If you find out that your computer is running slower and it's one of those three things, then you probably need to upgrade one of those three things.
Or do you
But
want
yeah, that can cause all sorts
show
of
them how to
problems.
check how full a hard drive is?
That is on my list further down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say that'd slow down the computer too.
Yeah, we might as well do that now. All right, so that's usually pretty easy to do. Where are we? I just need to get the screen back up again. Share screen. We'll go with that one again. All right, cool. So if you're wanting to see how much free space you have, usually all you need to go to is your file explorer. So this thing, and then go to this PC. As you can see, some of my drives are kind of full and probably need to be fixed.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah, just a little, just a lot. If you want to actually then break down and see what is where, what's the one that I use? That's the one. Okay. This is the app that I'd usually use for that. It's a free app, a free program. You know what? Let's download that.
So does it defrag and all that kind of stuff as well?
What, this program? No, this program, all this program will do is scan your drives and tell you which folders are the biggest and which files are the biggest and exactly where they are. So you don't have to actually search and then go and find it. Let's get it from there.
That sounds like a really good website. Like a good app.
Yeah, I use it quite a lot. When people ask me, can you help me clear up space on my computer? So let's install that now. All right, so I will get this to scan my C drive and we'll see where all the space is.
It's Pac-Man.
So the little Pac-Man means that it's actually searching and processing. And then what it will do after that is give us an actual visual representation of the makeup of the contents of the hard drive, and then actual numerical values for like percentage as to how big each folder is and where the space is being used.
That's cool. That is something I definitely need to do on my M.2, I'd say. I'm on stream.
Yes, you are.
Hang on. Money out. Go. And I'm back. Sorry about that.
It's still going.
How big is that hard drive?
231 gigs, so it's a 250 gig. Oh, that's probably another question that people ask. It's like, why is my, in this case, look, this one here, why is my my 1 terabyte drive only 930 gigabytes or 931 gigabytes? Or why is my 250 gigabyte drive only 231 gigabytes? And people are like, oh, well, it comes down to like your system files take up the extra space or stuff like that, or, you know, Some of it's reserved for other stuff. None of that's true. Disk manufacturers are basically lying to you. If you look at the the label on the disk or the fine print on the packaging, it will tell you that a gigabyte or terabyte is calculated like basically at a flat number, like 1,000,000 bytes or 1,000 bytes or whatever whichever unit they're referring to. It's supposed to be a gigabyte is supposed to be 1,024 megabytes. So let's break it down. Like, in case you didn't know, computers store data in ones and zeros. So that's the most basic form of data that you can store. Everything is made up of ones and zeros. Every one or zero is a bit. There are 8 bits to a byte. So every 8 bits of data, so 8 sets of ones and zeros makes up a bit. And then, each one or zero makes up the bit. 8 bits in a byte. There are then 1,024 bytes in a kilobyte, 1,024 kilobytes in a megabyte, 1,024 megabytes in a gigabyte, 1,024 gigabytes in a terabyte, and so on and so forth. What disk manufacturers are doing is they're using 1,000 instead of 1,024 and then selling based on that number. So nothing is reserved. It's not down to the formatting or the cluster size, which is a whole different kettle of fish. They're just lying to you. That's pretty much all there is to it. There's no other way to explain that. But they've been doing it for years, so we've just come to accept it.
Yeah.
And it's the industry standard, so I guess they're just going to keep doing it. Okay, so we have the visual representation of the makeup of my SSD. Oh, now it's going to have to recalculate it because I maximized the window. But yes, as you can see, I have a fairly big chunk of a file here. What was that? Unreal Tournament. Why is Unreal Tournament on my C drive? Oh, cool. Apparently that is the biggest file on my SSD, followed by probably this one here. Oh, Outlook data file. If that makes sense. Oh, look, there's my email addresses. Goodbye. Anyway, and what's this one here? EDB file. Oh, that's a Windows file. That's okay. But yeah, that'll give you a fairly good indication of what's on your hard drive and what's using up the space. Now, if you want to actually then go and clear up some space, there's a few options for that. So the first one is your disk cleanup. So if we go here and go disk cleanup, it came up on the other screen, but yeah. Then it'll give you some options of like temporary files and stuff that you can clear. I have 2.11 gig of data in my recycle bin. That can go. Thumbnails can go. They can be regenerated pretty easily. Windows error reports can go. DirectX shader optimization. Delivery optimization is... These ones are interesting. So what happens is Windows... will monitor a program when you open it and then try and figure out basically what it's going to have to do next time, what files it's going to need, what processes it's going to have to do, etc. And then try and optimize best for that for the next time that you run it. So you can clear those if you want to, because they'll automatically be generated next time you open a program. So the next time you open the program, it'll probably run a little bit slower, which, that's up to you. If you're okay with that and want the space back and want it, probably couldn't hurt to refresh that anyway. You know what? I'm going to do it. Yeah, just that's something in particular that people have asked me about as well. So we'll do that. There's a thing down here that says clean up system files. So there's actually 2 different levels of disk cleanup. There's your user level, which is this stuff, and then we'll come back in and do the system level after that. That is now running.
I really shouldn't have looked up that app, Cito. I just
Are you running
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Neil has a question. Neil asks, what's for dinner?
I think there's lasagna later.
I believe we're having pork schnitzel and potato salad.
But I had a look at mine, and the biggest folder I have is 181 gigs.
What is it?
Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Oh yeah, that's on your
180
C drive.
Yeah. Just because
Interesting.
when I want to load up, I want to it's my main game,
Yeah,
so I want
true.
to make sure that it boots up as quick as possible.
Yep,
So I've
that
chucked
makes
it onto
sense.
my C. But apart from that, I've only used in total 317. So it's well and truly over half of my C drive for one folder.
Oh, for one game.
Yeah, that's one game is over half of my C drive usage.
That's a lot.
Yes. So how'd the cleanup go?
It's
Did you gain
done.
your whole 2 gigabytes back?
Yeah. So now we'll run it again. But now we're going to do the system cleanup.
And the system cleanup clears previous updates, is that correct?
Uninstall files, I think, for previous updates. Windows Update cleanup. So you know when it actually hang on. Windows keeps copies of all installed Windows updates from Windows Update even after installing newer versions of updates. Windows Update cleanup deletes or compresses older versions of updates if no longer needed. So it's not the files that were overwritten, I don't think. It's the setup files to actually do that.
Yeah.
Windows upgrade log files can go as well. System error memory dump files can go. So we're not looking at those anyway. System error mini dumps, DirectX shader, we'll leave that. Delivery optimization files, there aren't any. Temporary files, they can go. Temporary Windows installation files, 16 kilobytes. That's next to
Wow, you're
nothing,
getting
but
a
it can
lot
go
from
as
your
well.
system cleanup.
A little. And then the other tool that we're going to use is CCleaner.
Yeah.
So this will go a little bit deeper than our disk cleanup, which is running now. So there is a free and a paid version of CCleaner, but I've never paid for it. So if you want any of these extra features here, then you can buy it. But yeah, I've never used any of them.
Yeah, I've only ever used CCleaner.
Yeah. By the way, do you know what CCleaner means? Like what CCleaner stands for?
I just assume computer cleaner.
Nope, crap cleaner.
Oh. Interesting. I did not
At
know
least as
that.
far as I've been told, anyway. That's from when it
Okay.
first came out ages ago.
Nathan noticed I had a CCleaner prompt yesterday when I
Yeah,
took the
did you
photo
fix
from
that?
my computer. No, I haven't done it yet. I think it's just saying that my free trial's over.
Oh, did you do that?
Yeah. Actually, no. It says there's a new version. I click to yes, download it, and it keeps prompting me to buy it, and I'm like, no, I don't want to buy the new one.
Fair enough. Oh, hey, Neil has an answer for us. Hoggies tonight just finished work, so don't want to cook. Hoggies. I'm guessing that's Hog's Breath Cafe?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Hmm.
Well, we had the family needle getting today, so it sounds like everyone's still here. Sounds like it.
Probably. All right, here we go. CCleaner setup. I always go the custom option. Yeah, that's fine. No, I don't want to install AVG with that.
No one wants APG.
I don't know. For free antivirus, like that you don't have to register an account for, it's not too bad.
True.
Because Bitdefender and Kaspersky antivirus both require registration. Alright, it's time for your PC health check. Okay. Pretty sure this is just going to be an ad. Oh,
Yeah, you can't actually run CCleaner whilst you're
well, that's
streaming
not going to
either.
work because StreamYard is working through this. I've never tried to run this with everything running before.
Yeah, no, it prompts you to close internet tabs.
Oh well, that's not going to work then. You can run that. That's all, folks. You all can run that in your own time. Because if I run that, that's going to end our stream for today, and that'd be a little bit sad, really.
Yeah.
Man, this disk cleanup's taking a long time. But while we're here, I would like to cover Defrag, because those of us who ever had a computer back from like Windows 95 onwards, I think, we all know what Defrag is. But the thing is, in Windows 10, Defrag actually runs automatically now. And SSDs don't actually need Defrag. SSDs have a different feature called Trim, and Trim automatically does basically what Defrag does to keep them healthy and keep everything in shape. So, yeah. So this was last run on the 25th of the 4th, 8:53 p.m. I don't think I was even here then, so it just did it by itself. Or was I? Maybe I don't even remember. It was too long ago now. That's been a week. Not even a week. But yeah, so it runs automatically. And I haven't set that at any point. That's just what Windows 10 does out of the box.
Actually, that's a question I have whilst I'm looking at mine. So mine was 9 days was the last time I had mine done. My hard disk, it says 1% fragmented. What does that mean?
Okay, so for those who don't know how disk defrag works, basically what happens is when files are written to the hard drive, they're just written to whatever free space is available. So it'll break up the file if it has to and put some over here, some over here, some over here, some over there. What defrag does is then go through and find all the chunks of your files, your fragments, and defragments them. It puts them all together in the one place on the hard drive.
Yeah.
So that the consecutive blocks of data for that one file are all together. In the old versions of Defrag, you could actually watch this happen visually, like they had a visual representation of all the blocks and where it was taking it from and putting it to. But then as hard drives got bigger, then it was probably too big to display that. You'd sit there and watch it for hours and just like, it's moving my data. It took that block and put it with those blocks. It took those 6 blocks and put them over there. It was really cool. I'm just a nerd because I've been watching this since I think Dad actually had a bought version of it. I think it was Norton used to do it back in the day on DOS. So yeah, so that was interesting. Actually, Defrag I think was available in Windows 3.1, or was it? I'm gonna have to play with that and find out. Jacob, we need to install Windows 3.1.
We must get it. Because yeah,
we could run that
even after I optimize it and analyze it, it still comes up with 1% fragmented.
How much space do you have on the drive? Like free space? Okay.
Lots.
That's really weird then. Because sometimes it'll stay fragmented if it doesn't have enough space to pull all those blocks of data together.
No, it's over half. Less than half full.
The other thought that I've got is I wonder if your page file, or if there is a page file on that drive, because it won't be able to touch the page file while it's in use.
I hope not, because that's on my hard drive.
Yeah. Well, generally, I wasn't really going to talk about page files much, but generally you don't want your page file on an SSD if you can help it, because SSDs have a finite number of reads and writes before they fail. Because they're flash memory. So you don't want data being excessively read and written from your SSD if you can help it. And your page file does a lot of that. But mind you, that being said, if you have a very small amount of RAM and an SSD available, if your page file is on the SSD, it's going to feel pretty quick anyway, regardless of if you run out of RAM or not.
Because yeah, I've got
it's not as quick as
753 gigabyte free.
Yeah, you should have more than enough space then.
And for some reason, every time, because I do this regularly, like I check this regularly, and it's just always 1%, and it does my head in.
Oh look, CCleaner alert! You can cleaning can save 3.56 3.56 gig of disk space. Okay, well, I can't run it right now, so go away.
It's like leave me alone.
The next one. All right, so we answered the how do I inspect how much free space I have on my computer and optimize it. So we've done that. The next one, though, if you're having problems, your computer itself might be fine. It may actually be your internet connection. So how do I tell how fast my internet connection is working at? This one, there is a very cool website called speedtest.net. Speedtest.net by Ookla. Oh, look. And then if we run that, then it will tell you how fast your internet connection is running at. And clearly this thing is listening to us because, look, ads for Telstra and for Exetel. And the Army? John? Where's John?
How do you not have a ad blocker on your computer? Didn't
This
you
is
talk about ad
Chrome.
blockers already?
No, this is Chrome.
Why are you using
So-
Chrome? Wait. Oh, because it's not your main thing.
Yeah, because Chrome is clean of anything and everything. Chrome I only use for testing, really, on this computer. Yeah. Man, advertisers really must have been listening to us yesterday, hey?
Maybe. It looks like it. You need to step your game up with your internet speed, Nathan.
Yeah. We rarely max that out anyway, so I'm not really fussed about it. And I don't know if our phone lines here will handle any more than that. So yes, this will give you an indication as to what speed your internet is running at. So our connection here is an NBN 50 connection, so we're supposed to have roughly 50 megabyte, or a max of 50 megabytes down, megabits down. By the way, difference between megabits and megabytes, that's a pretty big thing. There's a very big difference between those things, because as I explained before, bits are 8 bits to a byte. So basically megabyte should be 8 times a megabit. Pretty sure that maths is correct.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah. So yes, so when in real world terms, because when you're downloading a file, it will never tell you in megabits what you're downloading. Let's say if we go and download, my go-to test is always Ubuntu. So Linux distribution download, because it's a big file, it's easily accessible, there's plenty of bandwidth available for it. Here, so no, up here, not there. Facebook video downloader, interesting. Here, show all. I'm not a Chrome user. Remove all the old downloads, but see, we're only downloading at about 3 megabytes a second. So in speed test terms, or in internet service provider selling terms, that would be about 40 megabits probably. Yeah. So yeah, we're hitting pretty much close to max speed there, considering we're streaming on the top. Did you notice too that while I was streaming, Jacob's video dropped out? Anyone notice that? I don't know.
What?
Or did you notice that? Your video on the live stream dropped out while we were doing the upload test.
Yeah, I was doing some weird stuff before.
Yeah.
Like when you were talking about something, it just started doing like... Yeah.
Yeah. So all of that then leads to our next question. Do I need a new computer? So if your computer is underperforming and you can't get the parts to upgrade, even if your computer is, say, more than 4 years old and you're looking for parts to upgrade those things, they may not necessarily be available anymore, depending. Like, for example, processors. You're not going to be able to buy a new processor that's going to fit in a computer that's now 4 years old, which means you have to replace the motherboard, which means you usually have to upgrade the type of RAM that you're using because it's a different generation now. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
so,
I was gonna say 4 years ago, it'd still be DDR3, yeah?
Yeah. If you can't put up with it and you need to upgrade, you may have to buy, or you may be better off buying a new one. Because the other thing that I tell people, like especially when there's a labor component involved, you can if something's died, say if the hard drive's died, and you want to pay someone to fix it. So you go an SSD and you need to recover your data, and well, you probably have to recover your data anyway. But if you have to pay someone to fix it, you don't know, and you need more RAM as well because you're running out of that. You don't know how long the rest of the computer is going to last. At least from an accounting and a tax point of view, the ATO writes them off after I think it's 4 years anyway. 4 years? 5 years? Something like that. It's not very long. You can stop that now. Yeah, it's not very long. So they consider the computer machine, the thing, to be worth nothing by then anyway. So yeah, from a business point of view, probably should be replaced anyway. From a personal point of view, though, it just can be economical or work out cheaper, especially in the long run, to just have bought a new one. Anyway, it depends on how much you're spending, though. If you're spending like $2,500 at a time, probably not so much. But if you're just buying the low end of the budget, so low end of the market, so between $500 and $1,000, it's probably going to work out almost just as cheap to buy a new one. But if you are buying a new one, then make sure it's got an SSD at the very least. Yeah, and I always tell people at least 8 gig of RAM.
People don't tend to upgrade, as in buying a whole new computer, is because they're scared that they're going to lose their old files.
Yeah, there's things that can be done for that.
Yeah, because I know my mum had that issue numerous times.
Biggest problem, though, is your programs. Programs can't necessarily be transferred from one computer to another. Usually they need to be installed, which means you need to install it the way that you installed it the first time, whether that's off a disk, downloaded, set up file from somewhere, like on a USB stick or something. You need to make sure that you still have access to those. There's been a few times when I've had to help customers sign up for a new Office subscription. By the way, a new computer doesn't include Microsoft Office generally. So you either need to buy that separately, make sure you buy it with it whenever you're buying it, or what I usually recommend people is sign up for a subscription, because your subscription means that you get the latest version of Office all the time, like as soon as it's available. Your subscription also allows you to install usually on up to 5 computers. So instead of just buying it once for one computer, you pay the subscription, which you can pay either monthly or yearly, and then you have Office for up to 5 computers. And on top of that, you can also install it on 5 mobile devices. So essentially you cover 10 devices with the one subscription. And on top of that, you also, from Microsoft, get 1 terabyte of OneDrive storage, so cloud storage, which I'll cover another day. But that essentially then takes care of your offsite backup as well. So it's just smart. And it costs, at least in Australian dollars, a personal one, I think, is about $11 a month. Business one's about $13 to $14 a month. So it's not a lot of money. If you want to pay for it yearly, they actually let you pay 10 months up front and they give you the other 2 free effectively. So it's even cheaper again if you want to do it that way. This kind of leads into the next one, which, okay, so you've decided to build a new computer like we have here, although it was new and used parts. But anyway, you've decided to build another computer. Ta-da! So now, or if you've decided to install Windows even, where do I find my Windows 10 key? So if you want to install, like reinstall Windows on your computer and you don't have the serial number from when it was installed, if you've got a free upgrade or something like that from Windows 7 to 10, which is still working as far as I'm aware, Windows 8 to 10, yeah, where do I find my Windows 10 key? If you have a new copy of Windows 10, you should have got a key with it. So there'll be a sticker with that on it. I have one here, but I won't show you because then it won't be a new key anymore because you could see it off the stream and enter it. But yeah, there'll be a key there. If you buy a retail product, same thing, the key will be in it. But for future reference then, once you've put it in once, or once you've had Windows 10 installed and activated on a computer once, it is actually digitally assigned to that computer and registered with Microsoft servers as tied to that computer from then on. So you don't ever have to actually enter the key ever again after the first time. Or if you didn't get a key, if you got it one of the other ways, either digital purchase or free upgrade, you don't need to remember the key. You don't need to use it again. You just install Windows. When it gets to asking for the key, you just tell it, I don't have a key. When setup is finished and when you go and connect, it will automatically recognize that you have a license already and reassign it to you and activate Windows. It's actually very, very simple. But at the same time, for those who are freaking out about the government knowing all your details and stuff, this does mean that Microsoft knows all the details about your computer and stuff, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, there is that. So I'm actually old enough and been working with this stuff long enough to remember when Windows first introduced product activation. So that was back at Windows XP. And everyone was like, I don't want to do this because then Microsoft will have all the information about my computer and, you know, who I am and stuff like that. So people actually refused to use product activation. So there were a few ways around that. You could either crack Windows, so you didn't have to do that, which is illegal, or you'd get the corporate edition and use that because the corporate edition didn't require activation, which if you're not a corporation or didn't have one of those keys, also illegal. So yeah, there was that. But those keys, there were certain keys that if you entered them just didn't require activation. But on top of that, it wasn't just as easy as that. You also had to have the corporate setup files. So the corporate setup files were different to the retail and the OEM versions. So you couldn't chuck the disk in and put the serial number in. You actually had to have the corporate setup files and that. That being said, there was one ID that you changed and then it would swap from one to the other, but we won't talk about that.
Also illegal.
Or why I know that. Yeah. But now Microsoft is like, hey, sign up for a Microsoft account, give us all your details, and assign your license to us as well. I'm like, Anyway, yeah. So yeah,
well,
so
you can show them once they have it, if they want to write it down for safekeeping or something.
You don't need to.
Yeah, I know, but you never know.
Yeah, you could if you wanted to. It may be helpful if you're trying to transfer it from one computer to another. Yeah, that being said, unless you have the retail copy of Windows 10, also illegal. You're not allowed to transfer your OEM license from one computer to another. It's against the terms of service. But yeah.
Oops. But it's still my computer.
Yeah, I know. But okay, this was the thing. Like, they actually let you do it up until I think it was about Windows 7. I haven't ever tried with Windows 8. You could tell them, like, you could... Basically, what happens is it will try to activate online. It will fail. And then you call them over the phone. And it is possible today to still activate Windows over the phone. Basically, it generates this really long... I think it's... what is it? 8-part... Is it 8 parts? I can't remember. There's a bunch of 6-digit blocks. You punch them in on the phone one by one, and then it will give you back the same amount of 6-digit blocks that you then punch in, and then it will activate for you automatically.
Damn.
For, using those codes without having to be connected to the internet. But basically, if you've tried to automatically activate and it didn't work, you can then call Microsoft and tell them, look, it didn't work. And they used to ask, so how many machines is this installed on? You tell them 1. It's like, has it ever been installed on another machine? Yeah. Has it been removed from that machine? Yes. Like, all right, cool. Here's your installation ID. Put it in and off you go. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, people were paranoid at the start when product activation came out because they were like, I don't want Microsoft to have my details. And they were very adamant that they couldn't identify your computer based on the information that they were being sent in the activation process. Obviously now, having the digital activation, that's no longer the case because they've got to be able to identify that computer to assign the license to it. But somewhere along the line, people stopped caring because people are all doing it because you have to. there's no big fuss about, I don't want to activate Windows, because we've all been doing it since the release of Windows XP back in late 2001, I think it was. Pretty sure that's when it was. Yeah, I'm getting old. I don't even remember. I know it was Windows XP version 2002. So yeah, it must have been late 2001.
Damn, son.
Yeah, it's been a while. I still miss it.
I don't even remember what I was doing in 2001.
Yeah. I was in grade 9.
Yeah, I don't know. So I probably was around 7th grade.
Yeah.
6 or 7.
Yeah. That being said, though, I have heard one very prominent person talking about privacy issues and talking about people who have privacy concerns and basically calling them out on that. It's like, you're worried about privacy, but you'll give over your name, your phone number, and your email address for free Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
What? The thing is that people will often give up their privacy or their details for convenience.
Yeah.
And they don't bat an eyelid at that. It's just like, oh, you're giving me something? Here, have my details. This is why sales funnels work. Because they're like, here, give us your email address and we'll send you this free ebook. And people just hand over the email addresses like that. Anyway, that's my personal rant thing.
How can you see if Windows is activated?
That's a good question. There are a few places you can see it, but the easiest one that I do, let me bring this up. So you can right click down here. Is it in here? Maybe it's not in here.
I eventually find it, but it always takes me forever to find.
System. Yes, there. If you right-click your start button and go to System, then it will bring up this. And it will be about your system, including... Where is it?
I don't
Change
think
your product key.
This isn't the place I would normally find it.
It doesn't say activated. Hang on. This one behind me is not activated yet, because it's going to be sold, so I haven't assigned a Windows 10 license to it. It was a brand new board. Whoever buys it, that will be an option. They can either provide their own Windows license or I will sell them one with it. It's up to them. Nope. It doesn't tell you there. Interesting. I thought it told you in there. Okay, the other option, I don't know how to get to it by mouse clicks. Actually, no, sorry, I do. But the quickest way I find is hit Windows key and pause break on your keyboard, which is up the top right, just to the top left of the number pad. It will bring up this window here. And see down here, Windows activation. Windows is activated. So that's the easiest way to get to that. If you're not a keyboard person and don't want to remember that shortcut, if you go to your File Explorer, you can right-click on this PC and then click Properties, and it will get you to the same place. Man. I'm sure there's a quicker way to get there, like to find out if Windows is activated, but I'm coming from the background of like Windows 98, or Windows XP, sorry, to start checking activation status. So check Windows activation status. Although that being said, if Windows isn't activated, you'll have this blaring reminder, like basically burnt onto the screen in the bottom right hand corner, that says activate Windows. There we go, checking your activation status. Okay, so apparently you can go to Start, Settings, Update and Security, and then click Activation. There you go. That's the long-winded option.
Yeah, that takes way too long.
Yeah. So there you go for that one. That being said, though, my next question that I have here, because I've just done it on the new computer here, which you should do every time is, where is it? How do I install Windows updates? So the quickest way I find is you can press the start button and then just start typing updates. And look, check for update settings. Check for updates, sorry. Look, I have one available. And then that will go through and install. But Windows updates will happen automatically in the background anyway, whether you want them to or not now, thanks to Windows 10, and then reboot when you're not using the computer and not looking and had stuff open that you didn't save. But anyway, I have a bad habit of saving random notes, typing random notes in Notepad on my computer and just leaving them open for weeks at a time. Yeah, I don't shut down my computer either. I just put them to sleep. But yeah, that's how you install Windows updates. So that can go. That should automatically happen in the background. That one that I'm installing actually said it was optional, so it doesn't need to be installed yet. But I like to install them anyway because I like being up to date. That being said, people have had problems with Windows updates not installing properly, and this is something I have to fix a lot. If the computer shuts down, like loses power partway through, or if you turn it off partway through, or whatever, however that happens, or if it just doesn't install properly, then you have major problems, which usually, if it can't be fixed, there's like a long list of ways that you can try and fix it. Computer that I was working on the other week, I tried all the options. There was nothing I could do to fix it. We just had to back up the data, wipe it, and start again. Actually, you had to do that too, didn't you? You had to wipe
the exact same thing. Yeah.
Yep.
I was about to say I did that the other day with my little brother's
it happens.
computer.
It happens quite a lot.
Luckily, his computer wasn't really up and running for long, so I didn't have to wipe too much.
There we go.
So it was more just a clean install.
Yeah.
But it's
next question. Actually, I'm not going to cover that one today because we only have 3 minutes left. So I might bump some of these questions to the next one. Although, actually, I'm going to cover this one. VPNs. So basically, what is a VPN and do I need one? So a VPN is often, like, it's being advertised with a lot of antivirus things as a security feature now. And VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. So basically what happens, the best way that I can think of that I've tried to describe it to people is you've got, say, your device. So in my case, my phone. So from your phone, then your phone connects to, let's use this as a prop, my cup. Your phone connects to the internet. However, then I don't have enough hands for this. Hang on. Okay, the microphone here in the middle. So instead of your phone connecting directly to the internet, your phone then connects through
the microphone,
your VPN instead. So basically, how do I explain this? Basically, instead, if anyone's watching your connection, instead of them seeing the connection between your device and the internet, then they just see the connection between your VPN provider and the internet.
It's like a diversion kind of thing. It just diverts it instead of them
what
being
it's
able to
actually
see directly to you. Yeah.
What it's called is a tunnel. It's a VPN tunnel when it's running, because all your internet traffic is tunneled through the VPN. This is for the public VPN services that you can buy and, do stuff with. People use them for things like streaming services. If you want to appear to be accessing the internet through another country, basically you're accessing a VPN server in another country. So then when you access the streaming service, geographically, it looks just at your VPN's location. And then it goes, oh, you're in this country. Yeah, you can see that.
Which is illegal.
Yeah. Actually, sorry. Illegal is probably the wrong term in this case, because there's no law against it. Technically, there's no law against it.
It's against a contract.
Yeah, it's against your terms of service. Yeah. Whereas with Windows, if you do that, you're then pirating software, in which case then it is illegal. technically speaking. Yeah, but the other side of things is that that's not always, up until the last few years, that's not what VPNs were used for. VPNs weren't used for doing stuff like that. VPNs, which is now becoming more popular again because people are working from home, is used to create a secure connection between wherever you are and wherever you're connecting to, which for most people now is work. So people are using VPN connections to connect from their home computer to their work servers, which is usually, like up until recently, that's what a VPN was designed for and what it was set up for originally, really.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Like I've used VPNs before and I don't mind them. It's just.
But do you?
Which way did I use it for?
But no. The thing is, like for most people, do most people actually need one? I'm gonna say no. Like, I've explained to plenty of people, I'm like, look, people won't be able to see exactly your IP address. But if you think about it, it doesn't matter anyway, because we've all been using the internet for years where people can see your IP address. Nothing's changed about the way that we use the internet. And even if someone has your IP address, unless you have something open and allowed in through your router, chances are they're not going to get a lot of data out of it anyway. Even if they monitor stuff that's coming out of there, which is harder again if they don't have access to your router. If they monitor that, most of your stuff's encrypted anyway. Like your transport between you and whatever website or service you're visiting is usually done by a secure connection anyway. So you're not really gaining that much security. All you're really hiding is your IP address. But then if you then use your internet connection as normal and go and sign into a service, then so say your email or Facebook or Instagram or whatever, they log your IP address anyway. And 9 times out of 10, all these people who are logging your IP address are just sending you ads anyway. But if you've signed into your account, they can still see you anyway.
Yeah.
Oh. We have someone else who's joined. It says Rahman. All right, let's give this a go. Hello?
Hello, man. How are you? Hello, man. Can you hear me? I'm from Pakistan. How are you, mate?
Yeah, we can hear you. We're good. How are you?
Yeah, I just heard you talking about different aspects of how you can get through the IP address. I have one question for you, brother.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm really interested in the field of cybersecurity, and I basically live in Pakistan. So I've heard quite a lot about a lot of organizations that work in the US, like ISAC, CompTIA, etc., that provide online certifications who aspire to be something in the field of cybersecurity. Do you have any idea? Do you have any perspective as to what exactly is the demand for those qualified people who get out from these certificates, like who get these certifications? What's the demand for those people in the US and in other countries?
I couldn't comment personally on the demand because I haven't looked at the statistics or figures for that or anything like that, or work closely with the like the procurement side of that from an employment point of view. But something that I do tell pretty much anybody and everybody who asks about IT qualifications is that a qualification by itself means next to nothing. If you cannot back up the qualification with practical knowledge and experience, like if you don't know how to apply that, then it does you no good, and it will do whoever is your prospective employer no good as well. And hopefully whoever's trying to employ someone with those qualifications will have someone there to ask the questions to determine whether you actually understand what that piece of paper that you've got meant. So the way that I've explained it is that I'm not going to name anyone, but there was a place that I worked with a guy who had a university degree. He had the Microsoft qualification and the Cisco certification, so an MCSE and a Cisco CCNA. And we tried to get him to do some of the basic tasks that we sent our trainees out to do. And he came back and couldn't do them. So we then had to send our trainees out with him. And these trainees were like school-age students. we had to send them out with him to show him how to then do that work. So just because you have the qualification doesn't necessarily mean that you're good to an employer or will be employed.
That is something to make sure of. So tell me, brother, how do you see the upcoming, because because of this whole situation that is going on in the world, there has been a lot of cyber attacks throughout hospital systems, banking systems, by different countries. So how do you see
Yes.
that thing? Is it in an emerging field, especially when we talk about security? It's like there's a very big supply
Yes.
issue in this sector.
Yes, you would be correct. There is increasingly more security issues, and that would in turn then mean that there is an increasing number of people needed to fix and work with those issues.
Yeah. So what's your basic prime interest in this computers field?
How do you mean? Like, what do we focus on?
Yeah. What do you specialize in? What do you focus on?
Okay. A lot of our stuff is fixing like your personal level computer stuff, and then probably to small to medium enterprise. So small businesses, that kind of thing. People who have gone beyond what you would consider a normal home network. So just above what you'd get through, like, what you'd use, just say a normal router with an internet connection for. So we're not talking about big business stuff. We're just talking about like the little guy kind of thing. They're the guys that we focus on, the guys who don't know where to go and what technology they can use beyond just your standalone computers with an internet connection.
I personally think, and by the way, hi to Bearded Bacon. I didn't say hi to that man.
Right, man.
So you both are friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, we work together.
Oh,
so I own
so-
the business and he works for us.
All right. So the thing is, I feel like that this sector that you guys are addressing, I think this will never diminish, because
No, yeah.
this computer knowledge is, when we talk about very basic stuff, it's not like I can talk about it, you can talk about it. Not
Yep.
everyone has that capacity to inhale that knowledge, and I personally believe the spectrum that you are targeting, that will never diminish,
Yeah.
be it in any form, and it will for sure, because you see small enterprises continue to exist. They are
Yep.
something which obviously not all will them grow into very large firms.
Yep.
80 to
Yep.
90% remain at their same place. So yeah.
Yep.
So how is the corona situation in your country? Is it things are getting good?
It's
Yeah,
supposed to be easy.
here in Australia, we're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are from Australia. I've
Yep.
just heard that the Northern Territory is opening, is easing their
opening up the
restrictions.
Yeah, they are.
Territory's opening some pubs finally.
Yeah, but I personally feel like, brother, Australia has done a really good job. I mean, since the last 15 days, your numbers have been the same, 6,500 almost. Only a slight
Yeah.
variation happens in a day or two with
Yeah.
2 or 3 cases. Otherwise, you guys have done a tremendous job, I must say. Although at first I thought maybe Australia will become a very big center point because of the Tom Hanks thing. Tom Hanks got
Oh, yeah.
infected.
Yeah, a lot
I
of
thought
people are
maybe
watching
what
us.
is going on in Australia, because it was at very initial point.
But yeah, no, that
How,
was
how's your country
very
going
early.
with it?
Brother, my country, I must say, there's a very terrible situation. Very terrible situation. The problem is, we are a developing country, and there's like 60% people below the poverty line. So because
wow.
of this lockdown, the daily wagers are not able to go to their jobs.
Yeah.
There's a very big demand for basic food stuff, which these people are not able to afford. And the government inefficiency of the developing countries is applicable for all the third world countries. So eventually these are the people who there are concerns that these people will die from hunger rather than corona. So
Oh,
very
wow.
bad situation. Very bad
Yeah.
situation.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So you're from Melbourne?
Oh, no, we're in Brisbane,
Oh, Brisbane. Brisbane is in
Queensland.
South Australia.
Queensland.
Oh, Queensland.
the
Yeah, yeah.
Northern
How's
Territory.
so? Has Queensland also eased its restrictions on?
They are starting to be eased a little bit starting this weekend. So tomorrow.
So, like, are all the restaurants, shops closed of within your city?
Most of the
Like,
shops are
what
closed.
exactly? What exactly are the provisions in your lockdown? Where are
Um,
the provisions?
Basically, restaurants and places to eat are all closed except for takeaway. So you're allowed to do takeaway food, but no one can actually sit in and eat. Um, I'd say I think a few people have said about 80% of shops are closed unless they're essential. So like your grocery shops or the shops that are doing takeaway or things like that, most of them are closed. Anything recreational pretty much is closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're being told not to travel unless it's essential. The relaxation to restrictions tomorrow, though, are that we're actually allowed out to go for a drive somewhere. They're advising or saying that we've got to stay within about 50 kilometers of of where we live, and to still keep maintaining social distancing. So stay away, keep a distance of 1.5 meters from anyone that you like don't live in the same house as. Um, and you're only allowed you can visit one other person out of your household, or you can have two people. Wait, how does that work?
Yeah,
You're
you
allowed
can
two people to visit your
you're
house.
allowed two people visit your household
Yeah.
that don't
Oh,
live there, but
Yep.
it
tough
don't it
measures.
can't.
I heard some surfers violated the restrictions on the Bondi Beach
Oh yeah,
in
yeah. There's
Sydney.
been a lot of
Uh,
that. They
yeah,
kept having to close the beach
and they
down.
had to reverse their decision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. They had to keep closing it down and driving people away from that because people were just not listening and
ignoring it.
You know, I've also been hearing because of this whole lockdown thing, Australia, because of its education exports, like education exports are the second biggest export in the service sector. This year will be like one of the toughest year for the Australian economy, and there are concerns that there will be like $12 billion loss in this sector because of no international students.
that,
Australia is a very thriving place for international students.
yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't looked into that, but that wouldn't surprise me. Like having been through school here, I know there were a lot of international students
yeah,
that I met and that I saw like at the place where I studied.
Brother, your personal, because let me tell you about myself. I am like in because of your association to Australia. I was also planning to come to Australia this year.
Oh yeah,
I'm basically in my A levels right now, like in my high school, last year of my high school.
oh
So
yeah,
because of this whole lockdown thing, I won't be able. But I had my plans to come in this November. I had taken admission in RMIT, if you have heard about it, in Melbourne.
yep, yeah. I've heard of them.
So yeah, so I'd taken admission in bachelor's of what is it? Yeah, bachelor's of computer science, specialization in cybersecurity.
Oh yeah,
From your perspective, from the
yeah,
perspective of someone who has been through all of this stuff and who wants to recommend a good advice to his junior,
yep.
what is your thinking about this whole spectrum of IT in Australia?
In
How's thing going?
Australia,
And this is a question to both of you. What is
as in
it?
like the IT industry as a whole in the country.
Yeah, of Australia. Yeah.
It's definitely not going to disappear. Like IT is always growing and increasing, especially now. Like people are working from home, so people have had to scramble to get their remote work from home setups going. Um, as in comparison to the rest of the world, though, not really sure. I'd say, like I said, it doesn't matter really where you are in the world. IT is not going to disappear or shrink at any point.
I
yeah,
see. I see.
yeah. Here it's
So,
definitely blown up since all the COVID stuff's gone down.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, the amount of friends we've had asking about getting computers built and stuff is crazy. So
yep.
yeah, so nice. But the thing is, I don't know. I see things not getting improved at any point sooner, especially in terms of the economic rebounding. If we see from that perspective. be it for any nation, be it especially for the developing nation who are largely dependent upon, the tourism sector, like your country, like the
Mm.
international students. They generate, like I just read that there are like 265,000 jobs that is generated in Australia by international students every
Yeah,
year. I was
that wouldn't
shocked
surprise
to
me.
hear that number. Literally,
Yeah,
brother, I was shocked to hear that number.
because on
Yeah.
Given
top
the
of because our minimum wage is so good as well. Like,
Yeah, that reason too. That reason too. But how's your, especially if you compare it with US, how's your healthcare system compared to the US healthcare system? Is it good? Is it like
I'd
average?
say
Is the universal coverage
it's
good?
I,
insanely much better than
yeah,
the
I believe
US.
ours is a lot better than the
Yeah,
US. And you just have to look at how the health systems have coped with what's going on at
the
the
COVID
moment.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, ours has done pretty well to keep up with everything and deploy pretty much everything they need to, like to the point where I think all doctors now in Australia, whether they're in a hospital or just like private practice, are able to deliver remote what do you call it? Remote appointments. They've called it telehealth. So you can actually video call your doctor and they can go through stuff with you by video call. So you don't even have to go in, and that's available to all all healthcare providers and at no cost to the general public.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Like,
So it's like your personal GP, right?
yeah.
Yes.
And like
Wow.
the fact I
Really
went
good.
in and got the flu shot today and it cost me $20 for
Yeah.
the flu vaccine. So
It's you know what, I and the same price, if you convert into the US dollars, it would have been 10 times more expensive.
yeah,
US healthcare system is not as good as any developed nation, the way it should be, given the kind of nation, given the kind of resources that US has. I mean, I don't know why, but they don't work upon their social welfare system much. But yeah, whatever it is. But so
They
I
have been
was saying,
improving.
I just want to say, yeah. So I follow one comedian of yours a lot, and that comedian is Isaac Butterfield.
Oh
it's
yeah,
great.
Yeah. So I
I
thought
know who
maybe
you're talking
we
about.
should slide a bit from technical stuff to the more general stuff. Yeah, he's a man. He's a man. He's got something in him, I must say. One of the few comedians, although I watch comedians from all the world, from all over the world through Netflix, but he's something else.
Yeah, he's pretty much a typical Aussie bloke, which is the great
Exactly,
part about it.
exactly.
And not many other countries can take it. Like, there's a lot of people that don't like him, and it's just that's the type of humor we have down here. So, yeah, no,
But
he's great. I always watch him.
is it true that Aussies have this kind of humor? Typical Aussies have
Yeah.
this.
Not all, but a lot. Yeah.
Well,
What
Nathan can
about
agree
you?
that I do. I definitely do.
Who amongst you two who amongst you two, you may answer each other's question. Who amongst you two have a better humor than other? What do you think about each other?
If we're
I
if we're
think
talking
bacon has got much potential in him.
if we're talking about crude humor like Isaac,
Yeah, that's you,
that'd
hands
be
down.
definitely be me, hands down. If you're asking about
General
like
dad jokes,
dad
that's
jokes,
me.
that's Nathan. Yeah.
But the trophy goes to the bearded bacon, I must say, because I appreciate that kind of talent.
Yeah.
Yep.
The typical Aussie talent.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
takes a bit of practice.
All
Right,
right, we're
but
like 20 minutes overtime, so we're gonna have to
Yeah.
leave.
yeah, so it was
Sorry
nice
about that.
talking to you guys. It was really good, I must say. Was I disturbing your privacy?
No,
Was it like?
No, we invited people to join, so
yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
But I think it
No,
was a healthy convo.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
good to see
Okay,
like how
brother.
the rest of the world's coping with the COVID stuff. It's not
Yeah.
like all we get here is the media stuff from other countries, and having someone actually talk about it
One
is a
thing
lot
I
of
didn't
fun.
get from all of this is why YouTube demonetized videos where they even mentioned this word of corona. I didn't get this thing. I was like shocked. I
I
mean,
think
this is a
it
topic. This is a heated topic going on.
they're
could be
aiming
trying to
to
protect
stop
China
the.
or something.
No, I think
Oh,
they're
stop
aiming
the
to stop
fear.
the spread of fake news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be, but brother, I think it's also because of that clickbait thing. Like everyone is doing this, so
Yeah.
there's also a very surge in demand for these kind of videos, because of which there's a very disparity in the kind of
Yeah.
incomes that YouTubes are dispersing to the YouTubers.
On the
So
other
anyway, it
side
was
of it
nice.
too, they're probably
It was
trying to get as much free information out there as possible. So instead of monetizing it, if you want to talk about it, then you can do that, but you're not going to get paid for it.
Yeah.
oh,
Just to help as many people as possible, like, you know, and then people
makes
aren't making money off the back of it, kind of thing. It's like, if you want to put content out there for it, then you do it to help other people, not to make a buck for yourself, kind of thing.
last question, brother, before I leave. Any
Yep.
Netflix recommendation?
What sort of stuff are you into?
All kind of stuff. To be very honest, I just like to explore all the things, but largely action, romance, yeah, something like that.
I've enjoyed The Last Kingdom.
I'm gonna have to open
Last
Netflix
Kingdom.
now and have a look.
Yeah, like the Viking style thing. The TV series there. It's just came out with season 4, and I'm absolutely loving it. So
Oh, The Blacklist. Definitely The
The
Blacklist.
Blacklist. Yeah, I've heard about it. I've heard. How's your Sin City? Sin City, that Australian. I've heard something about it. There's this Netflix series,
I haven't
Australian
seen it.
Netflix series, The
Yeah, I
Sin
haven't
City.
seen that one. I haven't
Sin
seen that one.
City.
I thought that was a movie.
No,
Sin
that
City's
that is a
definitely movie.
that is a series, Sin City,
Okay, yeah,
based
I
in
haven't seen that
Canberra.
one then. Yeah, I haven't seen
Well,
it, so I'm not sure if it's good or not.
Yeah, I'll have to look for it and see what I can find.
Yeah,
but there isn't a very big presence of Netflix, like Netflix producers and this Netflix media outlets in Australia, like the way it is in US and UK.
Could it
yeah,
be
not a
Secret
huge
City?
amount. Huh?
Secret City? Not
Could
Sin
be.
City, but Secret City? Because that looks like it's based in Australia.
Yeah. Sorry. I just interchanged it with the game that I was playing the other night. Yeah, Secret City, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I haven't
Secret
seen
City.
that one either.
Oh, it's
Maybe that's
political
something
stuff.
worth checking out.
Ugh.
It's what?
Political stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm down. I'm good with that.
Anywho,
Yeah,
we get
exactly. This is where I wanted to come to. Yeah, political stuff. I really like political stuff. Like in terms of my watching
Homeland then?
preferences. For that only, I watched House of Cards. If you know about it,
Oh
House of
yeah,
Cards.
yep, I watched that.
You watched it all the episodes of it.
I have, yeah.
How was it? How did you like?
I didn't
What's
like the last season.
because of Kevin Spacey not being in it. Is
Yeah,
that the
just
reason?
yeah, it just changed a little bit too much, I think, like from what it was.
Exactly. The course completely changes in the last season. I just
Yeah.
believe the main charisma of that whole show was Kevin Spacey. That's all. The way he
Yeah,
talked,
well,
the way he.
just the way that they made him disappear. Like, I understand why they had to do it the way that they did it, but just the fact, like, just the way it was done, it was just very, it was very sudden, and it was just very cold. Like, there was no mention of him. Well, sorry, there was mention of him, but there was no visual representation of him or even audio representation of him at all again after that. But I guess if they did, then they would have to have paid him royalties or fees or
Like,
whatever.
I don't know. I don't know if you have watched Two and a Half Men, but when Charlie
No.
Sheen decided, have you watched it? Two and a Half Men.
No, I haven't watched that
I've
one.
watched bits, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yes,
Okay.
Bearded Bacon would be able to answer that. If you have watched Two and a Half Men, you must have remembered that when Charlie Sheen was about to, or when Charlie Sheen left the contract of Two and a Half Men because of his all the drug overdose and all the
Yeah.
things, you must remember that in the last episodes, he was projected as someone who died through a
Yeah.
piano failing. If you remember something like that.
I
It
didn't
was
know
something
that.
weird like that.
Brother, you haven't watched Two and a Half Men. There's such a big following of Charlie Sheen in Australia.
It's not on
Yeah.
Netflix here. What was the other thing? That 70s show, the last
Yeah,
season
70s
when
show.
Eric
Yeah.
disappeared to uni or college or whatever it is. That was weird too.
Exactly. Sometimes things don't make sense. But I never get one thing, brother, I must say. Australia being the heartland of producing one of the greatest actors, be it Chris Hemsworth or Margaret Robbie. I just don't get why, but I just don't get it that why don't Australia develop its own industry, its own movie industry? Although I just believe that it has very big potential. Why do all the actors ultimately have to end up working in Hollywood or in the
I
UK
don't
British
know. I
industry?
guess.
Yeah,
I
that's a good
guess
question.
I'm
Hana,
gonna guess that it's more. It's not so much facilities and stuff. Like you could probably build those facilities here if someone really wanted to, but Hollywood is where all the people are. If you want to know people and get somewhere, you've got to be where the people are, and that's just where the
Yeah.
people are for that kind of thing.
No. My main point is, yeah, that is something which we all agree on, that Hollywood is like the premier
Yeah.
uh industry. But the thing is, though, I've been seeing like recently, like UK industry as well. Like UK has also is also a small country, not as big as the US. But the thing is, I haven't seen Australian actors working in your country, like working in Australian films a lot. That is my main objection, because
There
of
are.
which, obviously, once an actor grows into a very big image, like very big, becomes very popular, like Chris Hemsworth or Margaret Robbie, they get a very big following. And if they do work in Australia, like Australian produced films could also get a big recognition throughout the world.
Well, that's
After
the
I was
all,
thing.
gonna
you guys also
say
speak English.
We
films
do have
that
them. Like we do
yeah,
have
we do have
Australian produced films and TV series and stuff, which I think are mostly shown within the country.
yeah, I
Um,
was gonna say TV series. Like you just need to
yeah,
look
there's
at
lots of them.
Neighbours and all that.
Maybe the
Yeah,
distribution
Home and
network of
Away.
your industry is not so good as
Well,
the UK and
possibly,
the
but I
US.
think the other thing too is that once the actors then start getting a name for themselves over here, then they get nabbed to over there. So mostly to the
Mm.
US.
But you know what? I believe this whole Corona situation will expose a lot of stuff that has missed out in the recent years, like especially when recently we were talking about the IT industry. Like the importance of this will be highlighted, will be signified in this whole
Yes.
situation once it gets over. And a lot of industries, like you guys are doing work from home, and a lot of other sectors government will for sure try to incorporate into this work from home environment. This
Yep.
whole dynamics will change for sure. This is my personal opinion.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that.
The way of doing things.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Anyway, it's been nice talking to you, but yeah, we got to go because we're like almost half an hour over time now.
Yeah.
So thank you
Nice
for
to meet you,
joining
Rahman.
us. Hopefully, we'll talk to you again in the future.
Have a good one.
Oh, I think he's gone.
Yeah, brother. Bye. Bye.
Mate, see ya.
Take care.
See ya. Anyway, cool. Yeah,
Easy
if
done.
you want to join, like next time, hang on, where is our contact details? We'll be back again from Monday at 5 o'clock. So, yeah, if you want to join, if you have questions, if you want to talk IT, if you want to talk, well, as seen in this example, if you just want to talk life, you can come join us. And, yeah, 5 p.m.
We shall talk.
weekdays. Tech questions, live chat, whatever you want to do. If you want to get in touch with us and send us your questions beforehand, you can jump on our website and find any of our contact details. Otherwise, we hope that you enjoy your weekend and we will see you on the other side. That sounds like we're going to die. We'll see you on the other side of
hope
the
not.
weekend.
I
Yeah,
really hope not.
let's just be clear about that. But yeah, anyway, thanks for joining us. Bye.
All right, see you guys.